3 years of the Freeloader challenge are on the books, and money is basically falling from the sky at this point. Loyalists will know that my goal from the beginning has been to make enough money online to make a real estate investment in the slums of Baltimore or Pittsburgh. As of early January 2025, despite withdrawing a few thousand to go on vacation, my crack house slush fund sits at $76,380. I can finish this challenge right now if I want to, but I'm holding out for $100,000 so I can buy something a little more ambitious than a condemned slum. But before we get into how this is possible, I want to recognize a young Chad named Corey who recently completed his own Freeloader mission and purchased a Camaro that looks exactly like the Banshee from Grand Theft Auto 3. Since he's still too young to drink alcohol, this probably isn't how I would recommend spending your Freeloader money, but as a college student, I can understand why he went for a sports car. To congratulate Corey, let's dedicate a moment to watching some live footage of him driving his new whip. Let's get back to business, and I want to make it clear, I'm not promising you sports cars. Corey is an outlier. But what I can tell you is that I undertook this challenge as a regular person, unaffiliated with my YouTube channel. What I am doing, you can do too. And what I'm about to do is show you how I made money fall from the sky in the last 30 days. We're going to kick off with stock and options trading, and I'll say up front, if you are doing your own Freeloader challenge, but are not investing some of your gains into the stock market, you are wrong. I have seen many of my viewers dive into the Freeloader challenge, and all they do is sweeps casinos. They end up looking like this guy here on the left, living his life entirely at the mercy of underpaid support reps. Meanwhile, they miss out on the baller lifestyle of the guy on the right. Now, don't get me wrong, you should absolutely stack paper. I'm not saying don't make your money. Make your money. But if you are sitting at Christmas dinner, thinking about how much time you have until Wow Vegas happy hour, you gotta shift right a little bit. Come back into the light. I've said my piece on that. Let's open up my Moomoo account. Last episode, I finished by opening a short strangle on SPY, which I planned on closing at 50% gain. It did indeed reach that mark, and I should have closed right there. However, I read convincing DD from Tasty Trade, which concluded that on average, it only takes 9 additional days to go from 50% gain to 70% gain. So if you've got the cojones, you could hold out for more. I thought this would be a good time to pursue that since VIX was still high and would likely dip in the next few days. It turns out I screwed this up, that's my fault, and I held past 50% gain looking for 70, and SPY started to breach my call side. You can see it here, my 605 call is getting wrecked. This gave me the choice to either do nothing and hope for SPY to come back down, roll up my put to collect more premium, or take my small gain while I still had it. I ended up cashing out for a $25 gain. And then SPY immediately started dropping. In hindsight, my best move would have been to stick to the textbook and roll up the put side. The next best thing to do would have been to do nothing, and the worst choice was the one I made, which was to cash out. So chat, what is this? Is this a win since I still made $25? Or is it an L since I was way down from the top? I'm gonna call this like I see it, and what I did was employ a strategy called trading like shit. At best, this is a Pyrrhic victory since I wasted a lot of time and missed great chances to make money. But every day is another opportunity, and you can't get bogged down from mistakes. Just learn from them. My next move was on December 18th. SPY was tanking, VIX was way up at 20, people were basically spam buying puts, driving up options prices. This is the perfect time to sell short strangles. Let's go over to Moomoo, my Freeloader challenge broker. Despite the day's drop, I'm still up 10% on Triple Q, and I want to expand that position. So let's open SPY options and sell a short strangle. My rule is to sell options expiring in 60 days. So I'll go to February 21st expirations. If I sell options at the 16 delta, let's search the put side for around that number close to 16. This will mean selling the 550 put for a little under $450. Now I'll repeat that same move on the call side and search for the 16 delta. That will put us at the 630 strike for about $230 in premium. 550 by 630 is a pretty good range, and with SPY above 20, prices on these options are high. I will ask for 676 to ensure I get a fill, and right away, there it is, I'm in the position. I've learned my lesson to just exit the position at 50% gain, so I will wait for market volatility to come down and close this position for about $335-ish in gain. That will be more than enough to give me another Triple QM share. Although expiration isn't until February 21st, I expect that as long as VIX cooperates, I'll be out by mid-January at the latest. That's a lot of info and a complicated strategy, but in our Discord community, I will teach you how to do this. I invite you to join, it is completely free. Beyond actual trading, you should freeload on Moomoo. You can cash in these Moomoo points for vouchers on shares, or Moomoo merch if you really want to. I prefer the cash, so I'll do their survey, I'll view their articles, and when I store up these points, I'll cash them in for vouchers for the shares. You still have to buy the stock at full price, but then you get reimbursed the face value of the voucher. It's effectively a rebate. Join now and you'll also get free shares with qualifying deposits. If you are a freeloader, Moomoo is a good place to park your investments. We'll come back to my new strangle trade at the end of this episode to see how it turns out. In the meantime, let's get back out onto the streets and earn that crack house. Sweepstakes casinos have been, by far, the most impactful element of the challenge. As you sign up to these platforms, you'll discover that almost all of them give you free sweeps coins every day at login. For a novice with no interest in purchasing on these platforms, these free login bonuses are already substantial. Across 30 different platforms, you're looking at a good $600 per month in just free play. Of course, you can go much farther, increase your VIP, etc., but this is not required. For me personally, I'm making the controversial decision to cap my Sweepstakes casino winnings for the Freeloader Challenge at $5,000 per month. This is supposed to be the Freeloader Challenge, not Mikey's Sweepstakes Casino Adventure. With the rest of my winnings, I'm making some strategic purchases. Let me show you those. I bought this Wursthof knife for like $150 because it comes with a lifetime warranty. This far exceeds the quality of that Temu brand nonsense that I'm used to using, which was severely degrading my cooking game. Now, I can cut through entire watermelons like piss through snow, and if this knife does crack, I can send it right back to Germany and they'll give me a new one. As long as I've got this, I'm never gonna have to buy another knife. Next is Darn Tough socks, again, lifetime warranty. I'm used to buying socks off of the clearance rack at Walmart. Now I have socks with no rough stitches. And if they do get chopped up, I can put them in an envelope and send them back to Vermont, and Darn Tough gives me a new pair. If I accumulate enough of these, I won't really have to worry about socks ever again in my life. They're not cheap at $17, but they are inflation proof, just because you can get new ones without having to pay for them. The next is higher grade rechargeable batteries called Eneloop. The Energizers just don't get it done like Eneloop does, by getting manufactured in Japan, which is just better. And finally, I dropped the rest, which was almost another $5K, into my son's 529 tax-advantaged college savings plan. I honestly don't think college is really that good of an investment from a financial standpoint, but let's be real, you go to college to get laid. Even if you major in communications, you can still get an ROI at college if you party hard enough. I named my infant son Chadwick. We call him Chad. He better not screw this up, because he's got a name to live up to. When he goes off to college, I want to make sure that money is not holding him back. And so when I dump cash into his 529 to compound for the next 18 years, I consider this an investment into his pimp game as well, and I get a state tax deduction. So overall, my Sweepstakes casino gain hits its cap at 5K. And at the very least, I encourage people to look at these login bonuses. If you're hesitant, start there, and you can participate without ever having to put your own money at risk. Next up on the docket is an under-pursued way of saving money called dumpster diving. I have been doing home improvement projects for the last 18 months, strictly using hardware that I found at construction sites. I used to pull copper wire from all kinds of commercial trash, but have since stopped. However, if you have access to scrap metal often, you can print money like this. For me, I've been combing residential trash for boxes of meal kit deliveries in order to find referral codes, which usually give you at least 60% off, often up to 75% or even 80% off. If you find these codes and sign up to meal kits with a new email, you get a dozen meals for like $15. But this time, I got even luckier. Let's hear what I had to say in the moment.
This is just a PSA for the homeless and for the poor. I was walking out with my kid, decided I was just gonna go and, dumpster dive for some fun. And look what I found right here. This entire box, it was still sealed. I just cracked it open. Look, still cold. This is still ice. This is still frozen. All these factor meals. Look, hand chef crafted, dietitian approved. I don't even know what this is. Tex-Mex beef bowl, all of this. Just thrown right in the trash. So, some guy named Ryan apparently threw these out. If you're hungry, You can just go look in some apartment complexes or some townhouses. Look through the trash. I mean, people just get rid of entire Factor meals. This is crazy.
I shamelessly carried this haul back to my house, and now my basement freezer is stocked with about $80 worth of Factor meals. I did go to the address on the box just to make sure there was no glaring issue here. The guy said that he didn't like Factor because it has too much saturated fat, which is kind of true, and he canceled the order, but Factor delivered it anyway. So he just put it in the trash the night before. It was really cold overnight and the ice packs were still frozen, so I think I'm in the clear here. But if I catch Ebola, this is why. It's hard for me to recommend this as a financial strategy, but keep in mind that there is free food out there in the form of food pantries, which I cover in another video. I have too much money to go to food pantries, but no one is going to stop me from fishing meal kits out of the trash, so I'm taking what I can get. And if you do have access to a construction site dumpster, go check for hardware. You'd be amazed to find that people throw out entire unopened boxes of construction screws. I was inspired by a TikTok channel called Dumpster King. I just ordered a GoPro so I can do like him, and I'll share my combined dumpster diving as a form of exercise videos on either Instagram or YouTube Shorts, since TikTok is probably getting banned. And further, once I do own this crack house, it will likely need renovation, and I expect that I'll be able to come up with a decent number of repair materials to reduce renovation expenditures by dumpster diving. Total gain for dumpster diving food is $0, but I did score 8 meals, and that's money saved. And according to my grandma, a penny saved is a penny earned. I haven't done much with crypto because I think there is only one cryptocurrency, and that is Bitcoin. Everything else is either a derivative of Bitcoin, like Litecoin and Doge, a speculation instrument like Shiba and Solana, don't kid yourself, or a Fugazi, with anything with Pepe the Frog on it. You can categorize crypto however you want to, but deep down, we all know crypto doesn't exist without Bitcoin. With that said, you can still make money off speculation instruments, derivatives, and Fugazis. And one of the easiest ways to do that is with Coinbase Earn. Every crypto cycle, crypto projects start getting advertised on Coinbase. By viewing some very brief intros onto a coin, you can earn a few dollars worth of that coin. Sometimes if you engage the coin's ecosystem, they'll give you a good chunk, like another $15. In December and January, they're advertising $33 from Alio, $27 from Demo, and $18 from CoreChain for $78. I have 55 left to earn. We'll open up Alio, and you can see I've already done some of this. You get $2.50 at a time for doing these 5-second quizzes, and if you make a wallet on something called Leo and you send your rewards there, they'll get you another $12 worth of the token. Of course, you can send that money right back to Coinbase and sell it for something more useful, like Bitcoin. I'll do this next lesson right now so you can see it. Apparently, I need to stake my Alio rewards with Pondo, whatever that is, and then I can continue these later lessons as well. When I open this up, it has me log in and connect to my Leo wallet, which Coinbase paid me to open previously. I have a few Alio of rewards in it, and apparently I need to stake this. I will just keep hitting next until I get my rewards. And there it is. Coinbase just paid me a few bucks to do a thing. Now I will go back to Coinbase and carry on with the rest of these lessons. You click through the jargon about DeFi and etc. No one knows what any of this means. Once you get to the quiz, you can get it wrong and it will just make you select again. And you get paid when you guess the right one. Moving on to the next lesson, we're going to talk about validation and peer-to-peer governance protocols, blah, blah, blah. Select the answer that sounds right, and you get paid. Now the final lesson has us swapping some Alio for some layer 2 thing. As usual, I just hit next until I get paid. I'm not really sure what Alio does, but I made $33 in tokens. Some of which is in my Leo wallet, and some of which is on Coinbase. I'll leave the Leo wallet alone, but this Coinbase balance is going to get converted to Bitcoin. You can see that this coin has been trending down, and I already lost $6 in value when I held these coins from prior lessons. It's better to just get out fast. Coinbase will take a fee, but for this small amount, it's pretty negligible. Although Alio is one of those Fugazi tokens, one that I'm taking much more seriously is Demo. This is a car data crypto. It's similar to XYO. This is very much in that speculation instrument class of crypto, but as always, you can easily convert it over to Bitcoin. I reached out to Demo and they sent me and a few of my people some devices that we're going to test out. I just haven't had a chance to test this quite yet. Between the Coinbase Earn $25 reward, the $50 referral award, and my 15% discount code, their most expensive device gets knocked down to about $23. This should pay for itself in about a week or two. So it looks like Demo dropped quite a bit since I recorded this, and now that I got my first Demo payout of 17 tokens, which is about $2 as of January 21st, my idea that this will pay for itself in a few weeks is a little bit off. The break-even time at current prices is about 3 months if you stack all the discounts. or a year if you use none of the discounts. Of course, that depends entirely on what happens to Demo's price, but if this was a speculative instrument before, it's really speculative now. I'll drop my code in the description if you really want to get ahead of it, but you should anticipate much more comprehensive coverage in a future Freeloader video. If you don't see Demo in a future video, that's because it sucks and you shouldn't use it. Total gain from Coinbase earned so far is $53. I have $25 more to earn from my Demo device when I plug it in. For those buying the Demo device, the effective gain is exactly $55. So that is what I will consider applicable to the Freeloader challenge. Flashing forward now to see how my options position turned out on January 2nd, we've got VIX popping up to about 18 while SPY is up to about 590. SPY is down off its $600 high over the past few days, but that suits me just fine since 590 is well within my short strangle. Meanwhile, VIX at about 18 now has been kind of up and down lately. The market doesn't appear sure of what it wants to do for the new year. I'll flip over to observe the position on Moomoo. There's my 550 by 630 short strangle expiring in February, 7 weeks away. But if you look at my gain, I'm already up 48.5%. Technically, I should hold out for another few dollars, but with VIX at 18, I'm going to close this one now, take the gain, and then look for a new short strangle while VIX is still elevated. Let's close the short strangle with a batch order so I can close both legs at the same time, and I've got the fill immediately. Just 8 days into a 60-day expiration trade, I'm already walking out with a gain just shy of 50%. Now I'll keep my eyes peeled for a new entry. Today is January 8th, and not much has changed since the 2nd. VIX is up just a little bit more to just shy of 19 at the moment. SPY is about 587. This is a good time to open a new short strangle. Let's swap over to Moomoo. My positions haven't changed a whole lot. I have about $26,000 still in cash, earning that 4.1% interest. Triple QM is my next largest position with just shy of 6K worth. We're opening a short strangle, so let's open the SPY options chain. I prefer 60-day to expiration options, and February 28th is the closest I can get. So let's select that expiration date, and let's slide our information so that I can see the delta. My strong preference is to sell the 16 delta strikes. I'll start by selling the put side, so let's scroll to the 16 delta put, which is all the way at 550. Now we'll do the same on the call side and sell the closest round number to the 16 delta strike, which is 620. By selling a call and a put at the 16 delta, I'll be collecting a little over 590 in premium, and I'll aim for a gain just shy of $300. If I refresh my screen, you can see the position there. My break-evens are at about 626 and 544, which is a very nice range for SPY. All I have to do from here is sit tight and wait for VIX to drop, and for the passage of time to do its thing. I predict this is going to be another trade where I don't even have to manage it. In the next episode, I'll give you a recap of how this all plays out. To buy my crack palace, I'm aiming for $100,000 by April. That should be enough to either buy in cash or put a significant chunk down and minimize the mortgage if I do need to carry the debt. After today's episode, I'm at about $81,800. Once again, sweeps casinos account for the vast majority of that gain, and by capping myself at $5,000 a month, I'm forcing myself to continue discovering new methods. Here's a teaser of what I'm exploring for future episodes, and if you have any insight into these, please do comment. I'm relooking sports betting since my arbitrage method from 2022 was poorly implemented. I didn't consider account health at the time, and several of my accounts were limited in bet size as a result. If you're betting on the number of assists that a second-string Swedish soccer player will have in a game taking place 3 days from now so that you can get 7% arbitrage, you're going to get identified pretty quickly as an advantage player, and the bookie will kick you off or limit your bet size. A much better method is to stick to game lines, spreads, and over-unders, getting very little arbitrage, but also coaxing bonus bets that you can use continuously. This is something that I'm just getting into now, and you'll see the results in future episodes. And although I really don't like crypto, I think it's mostly nonsense, I do think there is value in some of the higher profile airdrops, like those on the Cosmos network. Airdrops include a whole new level of scam risk, but also a new dimension of potential earnings. I have to tread carefully, but if I find that this is positive EV, I'll talk about it in future episodes. And also Demo, which I think has the potential to be profitable for just about everyone with a car, but I need to put some testing into this first. This challenge has come a long way, and I'm close to reaching my target. I expect to be closing on a crack palace this summer, and after that, the challenge does not end. We'll move next into wetlands mitigation banking to save endangered species of dragonfly. This is something you don't want to miss. Join our free Discord and stay part of the action, where fellow freeloaders will welcome you with open arms. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.